WTF, OMG, what's up, America? I am Efton Bogiano, your host, and it never ends. It really never ends. Look, I'm not saying that coronavirus is a hoax and it shouldn't be taken seriously. A friend of mine, my best and dearest friend in New York City, he closed his luxury spa down on March 17th, and then on March 20th started showing symptoms of COVID-19. Despite his cough and his fever, he never got counted because he couldn't get his hands on a test. The two other members of his quarantine tested positive, and that's how we knew. Michael Press, we are wishing you safe, quick recovery to you and yours at this time. But really, the mayor and the governor of New York should have been a little more proactive about this. They should have been the first ones before California to put in a stay-at-home order and recommendations for the public. Not that it would ever be easy to manage a virus like this, but it definitely would have helped. A message to my mom and dad who are stuck in Florida. Consider yourselves lucky AF and don't go back to New York City. I know it's our home, but we can't go back for like a couple months. Moving on. Theory number 5. Coronavirus is a means to hysteria. Dr. Fauci, you know, the famous scientist that's always at the press conferences every day with the president, he has said the mortality rate of coronavirus is 10 times that of the flu. We all know that the flu mortality rate's at 0.1%. with an average of over 30,000 American deaths and over 300,000 deaths worldwide. But our beloved Dr. Fauci has also said this: the case fatality rate may be considerably less than 1%. How accurate then is the information we are getting? Which one is true? Clearly there's a margin of error here. There are projections ranging from 200,000 US deaths to 2 million. But anyway, back to Dr. Fauci. He's a smart man. He said this suggests that the overall clinical consequences of COVID-19 may be ultimately more akin to those of a severe seasonal influenza or pandemic influenza rather than a disease similar to SARS or MERS, which have had case fatality rates of 9 to 10% and 36% respectively. How are these mortality rates made up? I guess they take everyone that has the virus and then they figure out the average of deaths. It's pretty simple, but who has the virus? I mean, for all we know, you have the virus. You just haven't been tested. Or maybe you are showing mild symptoms like Michael and still can't get your hands on a test. So now all these people who are walking around with it and aren't being tested also aren't being counted in the mortality rates, which will be going way down. Some reports are now suggesting that China could not be reporting up to 40% of their cases and deaths. So we're not really getting the data that we need. And this means we're not able to respond to the virus in correct ways anyways to begin with. So we don't really know the mortality rate, but we're saying it's around 1%. But now they're saying that when you tie in people who are unaccounted for, it may have a closer fatality rate to 0.6%. But SARS was at 10%. That's a lot more deadly. We didn't have to shut down any countries. What about MERS? 36%? I'm surprised we ever had countries at all. What about H1N1? With swine flu, the early projections of the mortality rate were up to like 4%. In the US, hundreds of thousands got the virus. Actually, it's reported that within a year between 2009 and 10, 1 in 5 Americans got swine flu. And the mortality rate was higher among younger people, usually those under 30. But once they had more accurate numbers, the mortality rate dropped. By 2013, the mortality percentage was down at 0.02%. So no, we did not close schools. We did not close the government for a disease that was particularly bad for children when we thought the death rate was about 1%. Why now? Somebody hated the fact that we had the best economy recorded in history going strong. And I have other questions. I thought that hospitals were full. Here, I have empty hospitals all over the world. I got pictures of hospitals that were supposedly overflowing with patients, all now seem empty. Maybe they're being really sterile and keeping the patients separated. But what about these testing sites? Testing sites from Europe that they are saying were packed, but as we see, are completely empty. Then there's the media and how it all works. It's easy to create a mass hysteria if you control the media. And since there are only like 5 or 6 main media outlets who all seem to be in cahoots with each other, it's not easy to fact check against them. So now that they're all on the same page and reporting really, really scary statistics, like they were saying like a 5% mortality rate 2 weeks ago and stuff like that, they cancel the other programs. They focus on these horrible tragedies. People like you and me are already brainwashed. I mean, you know, if you hear something more than 3 times, you remember it, and it's true to us, you know? So we're all in. We're all staying indoors. No more groups of more than 10 people. Are you crazy? And we're doing it willingly. Well, if we're all divided, a government would automatically have an upper hand. Divide and conquer, as they say. And once people start to lose it, we are setting up someone to take control. People lose their money, lose their minds, doing drugs, rioting, looting, etc. When will it end? And people like me will get removed from social media when we say that it might not be as bad as it seems. And this whole freedom of speech and freedom of the press is the foundation of this country. The very First Amendment. So important. It's what America is. We're supposed to be free. And my friends, that's literally why I started this show. I started it to have a forum where at least I can do my research. You guys can help me, give me input. Together we can make sense of all this. But we really have to be careful when it comes to government bailouts. It sounds great getting free money from the government, right? But really, where is it coming from? And long term, how will we get out of this mess if it really takes out as many small businesses as I think it will? 30 million small businesses employing 60 million Americans gone because of a virus that we think has a fatality rate of under 1%. We have not had an economic crash like this since the Great Depression, and we are doing it willingly, thinking that the government is going to continue giving us handouts forever. Now we are talking socialism. But if we look at the history of socialism, we know that government takeover is completely inefficient and leads to chaos and starvation in many situations. we already feel that the people in the government don't represent the average American. And now we are setting it up to make these government officials in charge of our everyday life. What about heart disease and heart failure? Biggest killer in America, over 600,000 deaths a year. The main cause? Healthy eating, less meats and salts, more veggies, fruits, and nuts, more exercise. So let's make that mandatory for all Americans. We must work out 30 minutes a day, and we can't eat more than meat 4 times a week. Then we'll give everyone numbers. Who needs names? We can all be tracked to keep America safe. Who's down for that government-regulated health plan? And while we're at it, let's release everyone from jail and rope in people walking around not social distancing instead. I'm Afton Bottiano, and this is WTF OMG What's Up America. Subscribe, like, share. Feel free to follow my other videos. We now have a plethora since this is episode 6. Feel free to find me on Facebook, Twitter, social media, everything. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and don't let the government get you.